By August 30th, as Ida turned northeastward, it weakened into a tropical depression, and on September 1st, a post-tropical cyclone. But it wasn't done, and it would become incredibly destructive in the northeastern states. In Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York, rapid, heavy rainfall left roadways and neighborhoods underwater, showing the destructive nature of water, and many water rescues were also needed.
Okay, the water's getting deeper. Looks by looking out the window like it's up to the bottom of my door. I might be getting flooded here in a little bit.
My name is Richard Peek. I live in Elberton, Georgia. I was born and raised in Georgia. I spent 38 years in Maine. Now I make YouTube videos.
Good morning, YouTubers. It's me, live from my front porch.
One of the things that I've learned about YouTube was that you meet people literally from all over the world.
My name is Wesley Pandy. I'm from Frenchtown, New Jersey. I actually met Richard through YouTube. He was making videos on banjos. He builds them, he tunes them, he plays.
He was watching me do this stuff, and he wanted me to make one for him out of a gas can.
I had purchased the gas can banjo, and it sat on a shelf at his place until he was moving from Maine to Georgia, and we thought that that was a good opportunity to actually meet up, and I get my gas can banjo. We pick a few songs on it and just have some fun. I'd show him around the area.
Today is the day that I leave out and head south. There's my old truck and my trailer, and I got it loaded full of stuff.
So normally the trip from Maine to Wes's house would have been an 8-hour drive. I was trying to get there in a way I had never gone, and was going by my GPS on my phone and kind of calling Wes from time to time.
He should have been at my place 4, 5, 6 hours before the hurricane had actually hit. But he got lost. The GPS sent him in a weird direction, and then he didn't show up.
I was on a 4-lane road, and a police officer kindly told me to get off that road. And at that point, I was probably about 20 miles from his house.
We had what I would call a micro burst. The water came down so hard and so fast, I got concerned.
Even though it started really pouring down and raining, I was like, I'm okay. I started to see some people pulling off and stopping and parking, and I was thinking, they're going to wait the storm out, but I'm not, because I'm okay. I'm just going to keep barreling through, and water was splashing, and oh, it was great. I was having a ball. It's like, I'm an old truck driver. I'm driving along. Look at all this water splashing. Yeehaw, let's go.
I distinctly remember, as I've watched the area of heavy rains move out of Pennsylvania into New Jersey, thinking this is going to be bad for New York City, and it was even worse than my mind had envisioned. Manhattan flooded. People were stranded on buses and even in the subway system.
When I got off the 4-lane road, off the interstate type road, there was a red light there, and I knew that I was only about 4 miles from Wesley's house. There were several cars in front of me, and there were several cars behind me. All of a sudden, there was a lot of water. It was water up to the tires, and the truck in front of me was a small dump truck. And the dump truck turned at the light, and he made it through just fine. And I thought, well, if he can make it, I can make it. So I just gassed it, and I made it to the deepest part of that, and that's when the truck quit.
The motor went dead, and it won't turn over. I still got battery because the flashers are blinking.
When I first got into it, it didn't seem too bad. And at that point, I might have been able to get out of the truck and make it to dry ground, but I didn't know what was going to happen next.
I just sit here and wait for the water to go down, hope it don't go up.
Very suddenly, that water level increased very fast. It's like someone had turned the river right out onto the street, and all of a sudden, there was a lot of water.
Okay, the water's getting deeper. Looks by looking out the window like it's up to the bottom of my door. I might be getting flooded here in a little bit.
I sat there at that point, and the engine was dead, and I called Wes and said,
I just flooded my truck out. I went through a deep, some deep water and it stalled.
and that's when he said, I'm coming to get you. And I said, no, no, do not come out here. This is not safe.
He was adamant, do not come up here with your pickup truck. And I was like, well, okay. I said, well, I'll bring a tractor. I didn't know if it was going to end badly or not. I hope when I get to Richard that I'm able to pluck him out of that truck because it's still raining, the water's still rising. On my travels up to get to Richard, I saw places flooded that I'd never seen flooded. I saw water coming off of the hillsides that you wouldn't even believe water could come off of hillsides from. I'm just like amazed at all this water. Look at this. This road is flooded.
Well, I sure do appreciate y'all hanging out with me while I get flooded here. And I hope I don't get washed away.
As I'm in the truck and the water's coming up, I'm feeling, hey, this is a lot of water. It's a lot of water coming at me here. It goes from being a lot of water on the outside to so much water that I'm having to climb up on the seat. When water's that deep, that's serious.
I'll see how deep the water is at the bottom of my seat right there.
The other thing is the water was really fast. I started making a plan, before it gets high enough to come in, I've got to go out that window and climb on top of this truck, which I think I could have done, but boy, I sure did not want to because I knew for absolutely sure that if that water touched any part of me, it would drag me down the river and I would be totally helpless.
I hear a big tractor coming. I bet that's him.
When water is covering everything, you're like, well, is there a curb here? Is there a guardrail there? What is here?
Wes came rolling in, did not hesitate. He just drove right into the water like it was just another day plowing a field.
I'm a farmer. I do dangerous stuff every day. And this was just a normal kind of a thing.
Come on, buddy.
Let me tell you, that was a beautiful sight, too, when I saw that big tractor come out through there. He had those long forks on the front. I thought he was literally going to pick the truck up and haul me out of there, but I guess he knew better than that.
It's good to have friends in high places, let me tell you.
We figured that it would be easier for him to get out of the passenger side. He was a little worried. He thought I was crazy. He was already kneeling on his seat in the truck. So what he needed to do was get out the passenger window.
He backed that tractor around, that big, beautiful tractor, and got it very close.
He stood on the windowsill to this door. The water was only a couple of inches from spilling into the door.
Water was pushing the trailer the way wind would push a sail. The way it was shaking, I don't think it would have taken too much more for the whole thing to wash away, the truck and trailer and everything. I was very much aware of the danger of all of that.
We kind of conversed a little bit. He passed me his camera. I put it in the cab. You're gonna give me this? Oh, holy.
I got to where I could reach out and get one hand on the handle of the tractor, and he put an arm around me and hauled me into the tractor.
Holy, we just got the rescue.
And after that, we started celebrating. I'm still alive. I didn't expect Wes to show up and to get me out of that mess. I thought that I was either going to live or die there, and it was going to be up to God.
You know what's floating in the back of that trailer is that banjo I built for you.
His banjo survived because it was a metal gas can with a banjo neck on it made out of, good maple wood. So it survived just fine. He plays it a bit. After spending the night rescuing me and the day finding my truck and working on my truck, he put me in his car and drove me home. That's just amazing, don't you think, for a YouTube friend to show up and not only save your life, but feed you and take you home? People say, why did you pull out a camera when you could have died? And I said, heck, fire, that'd be the biggest thing that ever happened to me, If I couldn't get that on film, then what's the point of doing it?
Ida overall caused $75 billion in damages across the United States. And it was directly responsible for 55 deaths, and additional 32 were linked indirectly. Ida shows that hurricanes are far more than a wind event or just a coastal event. And hundreds of miles and days after landfall, they can have devastating consequences.